Tonight, fresh details emerge about what the special prosecutor discovered in former sanitation minister's initial complaint to the police as he retrieved $590,000 and 2.7 million cedis from Cecilia Dapaah's residence. We also tell you tonight how much the special prosecutor found when he assessed the total transactions on the former minister's frozen bank accounts over a period.
Terrible day for politics in Ghana, and I really worry that this will have far-reaching consequences on the entire political class, even though the ruling party will be most affected.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Vodafone. It is a constantly moving story in what appears to be a never-ending twist and turns. And tonight, Joy News is learning of fresh details regarding what the special prosecutor discovered in former sanitation minister's initial complaint to the police. It comes on the day we discovered the exact amount the special prosecutor retrieved from her home. Now, we are now also learning about how much the special prosecutor found when he assessed the total value of transactions on the former minister's frozen bank accounts over a period. A lot to get through for you tonight. I want to bring in Elton Broby, who has been working his sources on this particular matter. Elton, walk us through the amounts discovered in her home when the investigator searched it.
So, Evans, let's start from the 24th of July, when the OSP invited Madam Cecilia Dapaah to their office at Rage. Now, in the motion that is expected to be moved on Thursday, that's next week, the OSP will make the point that on the 24th of July, the office placed the respondent, that's Madam Cecilia Dapaah, the former water and sanitation minister, under arrest on charges of corruption and corruption-related offences. The OSP subsequently conducted searches in 3 residential properties associated with the respondent at Cantonment, Abelemkpe, and Tesano, all here in the capital, Greater Accra. Now, the OSP says that the searches led to the discovery of cash sums of $590,000 and 2,730,000 Ghana cedis at the Abelemkpe residence. Authorized officers of the OSP seized the discovered cash sums on reasonable grounds that they were suspected tainted property in accordance with Section 32(1) of Act 959, as it was necessary to exercise the power of seizure to prevent concealment of the cash. So this is the amount of money that was, taken from the home of the former water and sanitation minister after the OSP conducted searches in 3 of residences, Cantonment, Abelemkpe, and of course Tesano Evans.
And my colleague Kojo Nyako is in studio with me. There's a very interesting aspect of this. We're also beginning to learn about what the OSP himself also did learn when he reviewed the statements given to the police by Cecilia Dapaah and also captured in these court documents. And Kojo, stay with me for a second, because you have been covering the court, and so you've seen the latest police charge sheet, and what we're learning in this latest document filed by the special prosecutor throws up even more questions. But Elton, we're also learning a bit more also from these court documents about what happened to Madame Cecilia Dapaah's bank accounts. And I have with me here, as part of the court documents submitted by the OSP, a letter that was written to 2 banks. One of them is on the 26th of July 2023. And it says, quote, the managing director, Prudential Bank Limited, of course, where they're situated and their address, and attention a particular individual there. And I want to read that. It says, please take notice. It says, order of freezing, Cecilia Dapaah. Please take notice that in accordance with Section 38 of the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act 2017, I hereby and with immediate effect direct the freezing of the bank accounts and investments of Cecilia Dapaah with your bank pending investigations into suspected corruption and corruption-related offences in respect of your customer. Now, this order takes immediate effect and shall apply to any accounts and other financial assets held by the within named person with any branch of your bank. And now it goes on to also state the account details, the account number, etc., held at a particular branch of the bank. And this letter, as I said, was written to the managing director of the Prudential Bank Limited. And it goes on to also detail. It says, quote, until this order is revoked or lapsed, your bank shall not allow any transaction on the accounts and investments without the written authority of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, except the following. 1, deposits, credits into the accounts and investments, including but not limited to cash transfers from other sources. 2, interest, if any, deposits, credits resulting from the encashment of financial instruments such as treasury bills, bond shares, bills of exchange, etc., and additions to financial assets from other sources. And it ends by stating, further, in pursuance of this investigation, you are required to cooperate and to furnish the office with the balances in each of the accounts and investments as of 26th July 2023. You are required to comply by close of business on 6th August 2023. You will be advised when this order lapses or is revoked. And this is signed by Kise Jabin himself, the special prosecutor. And then there's a second one, also written on the same day, this time to the managing director of Societe Generale Ghana, the Ring Road, Accra Central. Again, order of freezing Cecilia Dapaah with the same details as I've read. And again, asking Societe Generale, as is on the face of this document, to also furnish the Office of the Special Prosecutor with the balance and account details, etc. Elton, subsequent to this, we've learnt a bit more about what the Special Prosecutor did after they had written these letters. We are learning that they did an assessment of the bank accounts that have been frozen over a period and to determine the total value of transactions. What did they discover, Elton?
So, in case of the accounts relating to the Prudential Bank Ghana, 2 accounts here, and according to our sources, it revealed that the OSP tracked $5 million over a period, along with 48 million Ghana cedis found in Cecilia Dapaah's Prudential Bank accounts. It's unclear which period this transaction were tracked, but our sources are telling us this is a sum they came to after tracking the accounts within a certain period of time. So we are talking about $5 million and 48 million Ghana cedis. Also, there's also a Societe Generale account, 1 million Ghana cedis in investment, and another account containing 700,000 Ghana cedis.
And to clarify, this is the total, and for the Prudential Bank accounts which the OSP had written to the banks about, it relates to the sum, the total sum of transactions in that they assessed, the OSP assessed over a period. I mean, as Alting has said, we don't know the period, but this was what was assessed over that period, the transactions in and out of that account over that period. And that's the $5 million and then the 48 million. And so the OSP, Elton, clearly had been looking in great detail, not only at what they found in terms of the balance, but looking at what transactions had occurred on that account over a longer period, coming to these figures that they've seen. And so that is the detail as we know now. And this is the figures that you have seen. It's figures produced by the investigators having assessed the total sum of transactions on an account of a period. Elton, there's a bit more we are learning. This is something that the courts will have to look at, because the OSP is asking the courts, is it not, to affirm the seizure of the items in the home and also the freezing of the accounts.
Yes, Evans. In fact, if you look at even the wording of the motion, that again will be moved on Thursday. It says affidavit in support of motion for confirmation of order of freezing of suspected tainted property and confirmation of seizure of suspected tainted property. So in this case, there are two matters in question here: the $590,000 plus the 2.7 million Ghana cedis that were taken from the home after the OSP conducted a search, and of course the steps it took further that resulted in the freezing of the accounts belonging to the embattled former minister, the Prudential Bank accounts, and the SGSSB accounts. So the OSP, per the law, has 14 days to hold on to this. Now, if he wants to prolong the holding of these matters in question, they will have to appear before a judge and make the case. And that's exactly what the office will be doing on Thursday.
And so that's what we know so far as this is concerned. And the investigators have been. Elton, thank you very much for the great reporting on this, working your sources to get clarity on what has been happening over the period. But there's a fair bit of other interesting matters that we are also learning tonight, now that we've seen the document before the courts filed by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And Kojo Nyako with our Legal Affairs Desk is with me in the studio. Kojo, so when the OSP also did an assessment of whichever report that Dapaah may have given to the police, yes, what did he find?
Well, so Evans, the OSP found that in her initial complaint to the police, that is Madam Cecilia Dapaah, the respondent stated that 800,000 United States dollars of the amount reportedly stolen from her residence belonged to her deceased brother, and 300,000 cedis was contribution towards her mother's funeral, which was contained in a box. Now, this is another leg of it, that a respondent did not indicate who owned the remainder of the 200,000 United States dollars. That is not all. Now, there is an addition of 300,000 euros. So these two, the 200,000 US dollars and then the 300,000 euros, they did not indicate who it belongs to. But the OSP affirms that in their investigations, they found that $800,000 belongs to Madam Cecilia Dapaah. So we do not know the ownership of the 300,000 euros and the 200,000 United States dollars.
And this, obviously, you were in court yesterday when the police investigators came with the latest amended charge sheet. It raises additional questions. What did you discover yesterday when this matter was in court?
Well, so the police, for the first time in court on Tuesday, split the amount of $1 million into two.
To reflect this initial statement?
Exactly. So $200,000 and $800,000. But they are emphatic about it that they all belong to Madam Cecilia Dapaah.
But the word is a property.
Exactly. It's the property of Madam Cecilia Dapaah. So this is at variance with what the OSP. So there is a bit of difference between what the OSP has found and what the police maintains in court.
And also, what this means is the OSP's discovery, as far as what Cecilia Dapaah had said in her initial complaint, aligns with what we read in the Attorney General's advice.
Exactly. So, but the police are consistent with what they are telling us, except that on Tuesday they split the amount into two, the $1 million. So that is the difference.
Okay, interesting. Thank you very much, Kojo Nyako, there with additional details as we learn tonight as it relates to the set of facts that we've also become accustomed to as we've been reporting this. I want to quickly bring in right now banking consultant, Doctor, a good friend of ours who has been studying what has been happening over the period. Joins us right now, Chiahini. Dr. Chiahini, thanks for your time here on Top Story.
Thank you very much.
Also joining.
Good evening,
yes,
to your cherished listeners.
Also joining us right now is Mary Ada with the Ghana Integrity Initiative. And Dr. Richmond Chiahini, let me start with you. You have been following what has happened, and tonight we're reading a bit more about the Special Prosecutor's letters to the banks in question, asking for the accounts to be frozen and even asking for far more. As far as the banking laws are concerned, and at what circumstance will the bank then feel empowered legally to disclose the details, the bank details of a client, of a customer?
Thank you very much, Evans. there are four key instances where the banks will be compelled to disclose the secrecy of the accounts. The first one is the compulsion of the law. Under the compulsion of the law, the Bank of Ghana, statutory bodies like Bank of Ghana, Director of Economic Crime, and then Financial Intelligence Unit, and possibly now the OSP, can go to the court and obtain an order for the bank to disclose the account balances to them. That is the first one. That is the compulsion of law. And at times, the police, in certain inquiries, the police would also be allowed to get an order to go to the courts. And the next one that comes in is public disclosure by the public duty. Disclosure by the public duty, the anti-money laundering or the FIC, the Financial Intelligence Unit, are also required, can compel you under the Money Laundering Act 2020 1044, can compel the bank to disclose this information, because under the money laundering, they have the power under the LI to investigate. And then the next one that can come as disclosure, when is in the interest of the bank? Let's assume you own the bank and we go to court. We are given the opportunity by the court to tell the court how much you owe. And the final one that comes in is that when the customer himself agrees that we should disclose the information, the banks are compelled to do that. But in this instance, it's coming under the compulsion of law by these four agencies that I have mentioned. And to a certain extent, if the FIC were to investigate, they would possibly join the compulsion of the law or come to the public duty. So these are the four key areas where one is required to disclose information about a customer's accounts.
And as we've learned tonight, the OSP did an assessment of the total value of transactions that had been found in the accounts that had been frozen. How important is that to understand, to get a full picture?
Well, OSP is adopting the same methodology with the Bank of Ghana will go. We'll tell the bank that we advise the OSP will get the order to force the bank to tell everything about, even to, at times, to print your statement. They will require you to print either as an electronic statement or as a manual statement. The OSP can compel you to come out with all the information about the customer, including if you are holding treasury bills or bonds. All these things would have to be given to the statutory bodies, as I've mentioned, Bank of Ghana, the OSP, and the FIC, and the other bodies. So it's something that the law, they can do it under the compulsion of law, and nobody can query it. And they will take the details. They can get the beginning of the account and look at all the transactions and get to the end point of the account. Say 31st December to 31st December next year. They can do it as far as about 3, can do it for about 4 years to get all the transactions on the account. And that is one thing that the law allows these four bodies to do.
And as we've learned tonight, that is exactly what the OSP did in this case, to have a full view of what has happened, and so did a total assessment of the total value of the transactions and amounting to $5 million and 48 million cedis over a period in Cecilia Dapaah's, in this case, as we've seen in the face of the court documents, bank accounts, and also the 1 million cedis. That is what they found there in a separate account when it comes to investments, and the 700,000 in cash in the second bank, which again the OSP had put before the courts as a State General bank account. I want to bring in Rainer Mary Ada with the Ghana Integrity Initiative. Mary, every single day we learn a bit more about this fascinating story that keeps developing, and from what I'm learning also that as far as the OSP's work is concerned, when it comes to bank accounts, they do not require a court order to compel a bank to disclose. and that it is actually an offense to refuse to disclose when the OSP makes the formal directive to a bank to disclose. Mary, the OSP is not idling about a toy, it appears. They're going full steam in doing this, something you've asked for together with your colleagues in this space.
Certainly so. Good evening to you and good evening to your listeners. And this, for us, is heartwarming, as I indicated yesterday. We believe that when it comes to issues such as this, which have aroused so much public interest, it is critical that the agencies of state then deal with them as expeditiously as possible. In this case, the OSP has done so, and we are only watching on to see how the process proceeds. They have done their part. They have been able to uncover some things, and the court will then determine whether this process continues or not. And we are hoping that the court would affirm the OSP's request to ensure that they do even more investigations into the resources of the lady. We are saying so because she is not a private citizen. She has been a public servant for, you mentioned how long, I don't even remember. I think during the Kufuor regime, she was a public officer. And so as a public officer, her life must be open and it must come up for interrogation. So when it has come up, it is important that we critically assess her doings, what she got and how she got it. And even remember, this is not out of the vacuum. It is established in the OSP's law, and it's also what we continue to talk about when we talk about the conduct of public officers. And in therein, if they are looking into what she has been able to acquire over whatever period, that is not an issue for us. What we need to know is, were these assets and were these monies that we are mentioning, such huge monies, we see some were even kept in the house where they were able to recover. And now we hear there are some which have been frozen from the bank. So let's see how this process goes. But then we continue to commend the Office of the Special Prosecutor, the Special Prosecutor and his staff, for the expeditious way they are carrying out this. The only thing we would ask for is that the citizens of Ghana also be more proactive in disclosing whatever information they have to ensure that it facilitates the work of the OSP. This would inure to the benefit of all of us.
And Mary, we know one of the key things that has become a subject of significant controversy in all this is who owns the amounts found in her room or allegedly stolen. Now we're learning from the OSP's own document that they also found, when they examined her initial complaint to the police, that she actually had said that the $800,000 that allegedly was found in the box, indeed, she had said to the police it belonged to the deceased brother. However, the $200,000, the OSP again recounts, she didn't state who that money belongs to. That agrees with what we read in the Attorney General's own advice, but doesn't tally with what we've read from the police's charge sheet to the courts as they prosecute the theft case. That raises a bit more questions, does it not?
Exactly, and then it continues to confirm the question which I have asked. Who do we believe now? We have 3 state agencies, 2 presenting similar positions but not the same, and then one continuing to reaffirm its position that when this happened, this is the information they picked, and they are staying by this. And even if you realize, the police have been consistent with their account of the information they picked. Again, the OSC has now come to indicate that the extra monies, the euro and some dollars, were not accounted for who it belonged to. So it means that there is still more information that should be uncovered, and the investigative bodies, I believe, should be more interested in digging further to ascertain what the truth is, because there is indeed a truth, but from which side we are seeing the truth is the challenge, and it can only be unraveled with further and better particulars. The woman knows, or the former honorable minister knows, where these monies are coming from, and she's not in a Scandinavian country or outside this country. She's here, so perhaps she should tell us what it is, because we cannot have different accounts. And I continue to say that the quick way the Attorney General responded to this issue, it would be good for all of us if they then also continue to work together. You know, one of the things we have called for is that investigative agencies of state, particularly the anti-corruption ones, should identify that this space can only work if they work together. So what stops the police, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, and the Attorney General, who has indeed given them power to prosecute? What stops them from engaging? Why are they not collaborating? Why are they working in silos when they can do better working together? I believe in this instance, the OSP has the power and the mandate to do a lot more extensive investigation. And so they should cooperate with each other, provide information to the OSP when it relates to the corruption-related issues, and then the stealing issues can be dealt with by the police. But we believe that we can make gains when these institutions work together.
Mariada, thank you very much. And Mariada works with the Ghana Integrity Initiative and the local chapter of Transparency International. Earlier, you had Dr. Richmond Etiahene, a banking consultant, helping us navigate the banking issues raised on the day we learned the account has been frozen. The Special Prosecutor has indeed gone ahead to assess the total value of transactions on her accounts as part of the investigations. Well, as you may well know by now, this is a major story, but also learning tonight that it sent shockwaves among the political class. Listen to MP for North Tongue, Samuel Dapaah, who is also the ranking on the Foreign Affairs Committee in Parliament.
Terrible day for politics in Ghana, and I really worry that this will have far-reaching consequences on the entire political class, even though the ruling party will be most affected. But depending on how this is managed and the reforms that take place, if care is not taken, it will delve a mortal wound, if you like, on the entire credibility and image of the Ghanaian political class.
And that is Samuel Dapaah, is MP for North Tongue and the ranking on the Foreign Affairs Committee.